Okay, so I want to make a video specifically about celery here today, because here it is, the middle of March, and we are still harvesting beautiful celery that we planted last year in May. So this celery is almost a year old. We planted it, we grew it in the garden. It grows pretty slow, it takes forever to grow. And then by fall, it was pretty big, and throughout the winter, we have just been harvesting these. For about 5 months, we've been harvesting this celery crop. So that is pretty exciting, to be able to have celery throughout the entire winter. So in a solar greenhouse, or even a heated greenhouse, you could keep celery growing all winter long. So it's really a fun, exciting crop to grow. There's different varieties of celery. There's this green one. This is called Tall Utah, and this celery was developed in Utah during the decades when celery was a commercial crop that was grown in northern Utah and shipped all over the place. I don't know how extensively it was shipped, but it was shipped around the United States for sure, and maybe even further than that. But there's other varieties that you can grow. There's old heirloom varieties, and when they're growing, the leaves are all sprawled out flat, and you have to tie them up. Well, this one grows straight up on its own. I didn't have to tie it up at all. If you did want to put a cardboard around this as it's beginning to grow, you can put cardboard around it and then put dirt on it, and as it keeps growing up, you'd put more cardboard on it and more dirt, and then when you harvest it, you would pull it off and you would have big beautiful stalks of celery that are pure white, because they have never had they're not photosynthesizing because the light doesn't hit them. So that's an interesting, fun thing you can do to produce a different type of product. They do have celery that are red, and instead of green stalks, there are these beautiful purple-red stalks. So there's a lot of fun things people can do with celery as far as growing it. But the interesting thing is we've been eating this celery, and we're going to be eating this into April, unless we eat it all before then. But I think the plants are going to last that long. I mean, they're not going to deteriorate and rot before that time, because they're doing really good. At some point, I think they're going to put out a stalk in the middle and try to go to seed. And when that happens, the leaf quality of these stems, the eating quality, will not be as good. But celery is a fun crop to grow. 2 keys of growing celery. And I want to tell you this because it's much easier to grow than you think it would be. Key number 1 is to get the seeds to sprout, they need light. So don't cover the seed with soil. Just put the seeds in your a cell tray, like a 200 cell or whatever size you're using. A good way to start the celery is to water your cell real good so that your soil is wet, and then you put the seeds on and then cover it with saran wrap, and then the light can go through the saran wrap and sprout the seeds. So most seeds, we bury them, but not celery. Don't bury the celery seed. The other fun thing about celery that you need to know to be able to grow it is never let it dry out. You need to have celery growing in your garden at maybe at a different place or a different watering schedule, because during the heat of summer you would need to water your celery just about every day, because if it dries out, it hurts it severely. It's really bad for it to dry out. So if you're watering the rest of your garden, say 3 times a week or 2 times a week, you would be watering this nearly every day. If you only have to water your garden once a month, then you would be watering this probably at least once a week, maybe every 8-9 days, just depending on what's happening at that time of year. But never let it dry out. It wants to be wet. And if you do those 2 things, you can probably have a really good successful crop with celery. Celery is an undergrown crop. Most people don't grow it in their gardens. I hardly ever see people growing celery, but it's a fun crop to grow, and it's not as hard as people think it is. Hopefully this has helped to simplify a complicated thing about gardening for you. You guys have a great day, and share this video with your friends and family, and ask them to sign up for this Patreon page. Thank you for supporting me. Have a great day.